Hello besties, welcome to another sit down video. Today we're going to be talking about every physical book on my TBR. And you see some of them in the shot right now. Yes, but please, no peeking. This is a trend that I've seen on booktube for well over a year where people just kind of go through every unread book that they have on their shelves. I actually thought that I could not participate in this trend because I thought I only owned like 20 books, which I guess I could have made a video with only 20 books, but I thought that would be boring. But then I'm actually moving right now. It doesn't really look like that in the shop, but if you were to look anywhere else in my office, it's quite messy with boxes and whatnot. And so I actually pulled off all of my unread books and I realized I had 50 books. And so I was like, perhaps I could actually join all the other booktubers and having like a series where I read down my physical TBR. But anyway, let's go ahead and get into these 50 books that I didn't know I owned. I'm gonna grab the first one randomly off this shelf. This is not a shelf, this is a stack. From what I know, this is like a cozy sci-fi, a human who lives with like 3 robots in a treehouse. I think it's supposed to be like Swiss Family Robinson. And I think there's might be a romance between the human and a robot. I'm not really quite sure. Up next we have a book that I bought when I was in Scotland, and that is the Memoirs of Sherlock Holmes, which is I think a collection of some of the Sherlock Holmes stories by Arthur Conan Doyle. I might have to do some additional reading to figure out how to read this book, so I'm gonna go ahead and set that aside. Up next we have Heaven's Official Blessing. This was originally written in Chinese and this is the official translation. This is a very, very popular novel online. I know that this is like a fantasy and I think it might be gay. I hope it's gay. All right, now we have Let in the Mist, which is a cozy fantasy that was written a long time ago. It is quite a shame that this beautiful copy has a blurb from Neil Gaiman right there. I know this is one of the earliest like cozy fantasies that people like talk about. Okay, bestie, Sarah from the future interrupting to talk about today's sponsor. I am living in my new place. We finally got out of there last week. Praise God, hallelujah. Unfortunately, we do not have any cute spots to be filming at the moment because we have a lot of boxes everywhere. I haven't unpacked my books. So I thought, why not show off my new fireplace? Can we get a little noise for the fireplace? It is so cute. I'm in love with it. I really, really love my new place. I think it's just adorable. I love it. I love it. And I'm so excited to be talking about today's sponsor, which is a book of the month. Honestly, book of the month basically gave me a housewarming gift by sending me some books. If you're wondering what book of the month is, I'll be happy to share with you. It is a subscription service that allows you to pick a book each month from a curated list. And among the many things that's great about them, they actually spotlight a lot of new and emerging authors. I always find myself coming back to book of the month because they have the best prices you'll find anywhere for new hardcovers. But anyway, let's get to the most exciting part of this sponsorship, and that is the 2 books that they sent me. Okay, Billy's also very excited to see which books I picked. She came over just as I was starting to talk about these. The first book that I chose is Liquid by Miriam Ramani. This is a romantic literary fiction that I'm super excited about because it sounds fascinating. It's about this girl who recently got her PhD, but she's not doing well financially, so one of her friends suggests to her that she marries rich. And so because of her very analytical mind, she makes a spreadsheet. It kind of covers 100 different dates that she can go on to try to find her perfect match that will help her like get out of debt and be wealthy. It just sounds like a really fun satire that's also considered a love story. Like it literally says a love story on the cover. I also love the cover because it kind of plays with being an Excel spreadsheet. Like we have the letters and the numbers down here on the sides and we have the little cell blocks for the Excel sheet. And then the second book that I chose was Promise Me Sunshine by Cara Bastoni. This is actually an add-on. Every single month they have the main list, but you can also add extra books on if you want. And so this was actually included in their add-ons. And I was very excited to get this because I've actually read a different book by Cara Bastoni before, but it was a novella. And I've always wanted to read more from her. So I'm very excited to pick up like a full-length romance for her. This one deals with a lot of grief because our main character recently lost her best friend to cancer. And so she doesn't really know what to do with her life. So she becomes a babysitter for a single mom. And she basically starts a romance with the uncle of the little girl because he is trying to deal with issues with his sister and connect with his niece. And then she's trying to deal obviously with the loss of her best friend. And so they kind of work together on these things. He's helping her complete like a live again list, which is basically like a bucket list of things to do that'll make her feel alive again. Okay, besties, if you're interested in trying book of the month, which I highly recommend that you do because it is a lot of fun. I really love picking out the books every month. It's so fun. You can join by going to their website, and for a limited time, if you use the code CLOVER, you'll get your first book for $9.99, which in my opinion is a steal. The next 6 books are actually a manga series. This is the first 6 volumes of Nosatsu Junkie. Basically, this is about a girl who desperately wants to be a model, but every time she smiles, she like looks really scary. And then one day she comes across one of her classmates who is a model and they help her like get her first job, and they have kind of a tumultuous friendship. And there's a bit of like masquerading, like dressing up, like it's a boy dressing up like a girl. I don't know, this actually might have some questionable content in it. I don't know. I need to read it. I'll let you know. Another manga, and that is Fruits Basket. I loved Fruits Basket when I was in high school. I read so many volumes of this, and I saw the original anime that wasn't finished. I actually haven't seen the newer one. This is just a classic. It's very cute. We have our main character Toru, who ends up like being adopted by this family where everyone is an animal from the Chinese zodiac. Two of the people are classmates of hers, and there is a little bit of a love triangle. Very cute. Then we have another book that I got in Scotland, and this is the Anthology of Scottish Folktales. And I think this is just a short little cute book that has a bunch of folktales in it, and I think it has some like author's notes and whatnot. Up next we have Guilty Pleasures by Laurel K. Hamilton. I was planning for a while to do a video where I read books with ugly covers, and this was one of the options that I had purchased, and I didn't end up including it in that video. Also, that video is temporarily on pause. I like started it. I don't know, I need to like completely revamp it. But this is the first book in the Anita Blake series, which is like vampires, and she's a vampire hunter. And we have Ghost Wall by Sarah Moss. I have no idea what this is about. This was another book that I picked up for a video concept. I was gonna do reading ugly books and then reading beautiful books, and this is one that I bought solely based on the cover, and I got it from Half Price Books. It says, a feminist fable, mythic and timely, asks how far have we come from the primitive minds of our ancestors. I don't know, it has some like cool like chapter headings, like there's like this little rabbit with like an axe. Then we have another novella that I got for that concept where I was gonna like read beautiful books based on the cover. Don't know what this is about. Prosper's Demon. I just really liked the cover. I got this on Pingo Books. Something about a demon and a fantasy. I did not promise that the synopses that I would be giving you for these books is gonna be very good. Also, we have so many books to talk about. We cannot dwell. Another short little book right here. I bought this a while ago because Jordaline talked about it in a video. It is a middle grade kind of Goosebumps type book about someone who's like babysitting, and there's like clowns. Very spooky, very kooky, very creepy. The next 3 books are actually the Wayward Children series. I might be missing one book, so it is possible that my TBR might grow if I buy another one. But I kind of want to reread all of the Wayward Children. I think I have them around here. So, oh, over here. I have them over here. I have a bunch of them. Okay, next we have Heir of Navron, which is the 3rd book in the Raya Revelations. Raya Revelations is always very difficult for me to say. This is volume 3, and I'm very excited to pick this up. This is a fantasy series about 2 main characters that are thieves, and they kind of get embroiled in like a bunch of like politics in this like fantasy world. And I absolutely loved the first 2 volumes of this, so I'm very excited to pick this up. This is kind of like high priority on my TBR this year because I have quite a few series that I really want to finish. Girl Forgotten by Karen Slaughter, which I actually think is a sequel to Pieces of Her, which I actually hated. I actually hated Pieces of Her. That's one of my least favorite Karen Slaughter books, but I'm willing to give her a second chance. And maybe Pieces of Her was just a fluke. Apparently the main character is now a US Marshal, and so she's like trying to solve a cold case. We are really on a roll with series. We have the last 3 books in Anne of Green Gables. I do think I want to reread the first 5 books just because I love Anne of Green Gables so much. It like brings me so much joy. They're just such cozy books. Like love the love. If you've only ever read the first one, or if you didn't even know that it was an 8-book series, I highly recommend you read more of them because Anne is just such a delightful character. You get to kind of like follow her through her life. I am ashamed to say that I have owned this book probably since 2016. This is Special Topics in Calamity Physics. Marisha Pessl wrote Night Film, which used to be one of my all-time favorite books. I don't know if it still is. I would need to reread it to see if it like holds up, but I actually have a copy of it. I have it right here. I think it's signed by her because I actually interviewed her once at Book Expo. Love her so much. I really wish the next book that she wrote was not YA because I think the last 2 books she's written are YA, and I really want her to get back to adult books, but this is her first debut novel. I did start this once like forever and ever and ever ago, and I accidentally DNF'd it. I think I started it back when I was still kind of in like a heavy YA era, and so I would love to go back because it's about this girl who goes to this new school, and she gets really close to a teacher at her school that ends up, I think, getting murdered. And I don't even think I got to the murder portion. Technically, Hyperbole and a Half would be a reread, but I haven't read this since 2015, and I bought this quite a few years ago. I don't actually think you can get this that easily anymore. I don't think they like print it that often. I noticed that on Amazon, but I've had this for a while because I've always wanted to reread it, and it's just like a really funny comic series from this. I feel like you'd recognize this artist, Ali Brosh. She like did a lot of memes back in the day, like all the things and that sort of thing. And so this is all about her having like depression. It's actually quite heavy based on it being like a silly, goofy little like graphic novel. All right, Things We Do in the Dark by Jennifer Hillier. Oh yeah, it's about a celebrity who finds her husband dead in a bathtub. I do remember this now that I'm reading that. I have read a few Jennifer Hillier books. Some of them I liked, some of them I didn't. So I definitely want to try more from her. The series just keep on hitting. This is the 3rd book in the Broken Earth trilogy, which is like the 5th season. And I need to finish the series. It's about these people who are like earthbenders, and there's a lot of like complicated magic and politics, and it's a very gripping series. I read the 2nd book last year, and I need to finish this. I feel like this is gonna be a really amazing conclusion. Okay, Stolen by the Wolves is a Viking Omegaverse. It's literally what it sounds like. It's about a girl who has to marry a Viking, and it's also a Makeverse. I think it's a humanoid Makeverse though. I don't think they turn into animals, I'm pretty sure. Sea of Ruin by Pam Godwin. Riley actually gave me this copy because she had more than one, because I think she got like a special edition of it. This is a dark romance pirate where a girl like gets kidnapped. She's like on a pirate ship. There might be a reverse harem. There's a lot of sex going on in this. The Bone Season by Samantha Shannon. I actually bought this recently because I was making a purchase on Book Outlet and I wasn't hitting the shipping minimum because everything was on sale for like $5. And I just thought that the cover was like so cute. And I've always been curious about reading The Bone Season. I know that this is a fantasy series that's been around for a really long time, and I know that Samantha Shannon actually just has recently re-released it with all these new covers and like revised the content. Like I think she like rewrote some of it. So curious to see what this is like. I've never read it. It's a very chunky book, but I'm trying to face my fear of long books this year. There's something in here. Oh, you know what's in here? The page being all bent up. What the fuck, Book Outlet? I'm taking you to court. Okay, this next book I may not actually read because this is more of a nostalgic thing that I have, but it is technically an unread book, and that is the novelization of The 10th Kingdom, which is a miniseries that was on in like the late 90s, early 2000s on NBC. It actually says on the cover here, an NBC television event of the year. We had the VHS version of it, and I remember my sister and I watched it so many times. It is so good. If you know it, you know it. I think you might be able to watch it on Netflix, but it is so cheesy. If you want to watch like a fantasy TV series that has like really bad special effects, this is the one for you. I would be very curious to read the physical version. I actually think it does also have like pictures from the TV show in here. All right, this next book I actually bought recently. Apparently I buy more books than I thought because I'm like, a lot of these actually were bought within the last year. I was at Thrift Books selling them a bunch of my DVDs, which by the way, they did commit highway robbery. I brought in like so many DVDs. Like it was like seasons upon seasons of shows, like 10 seasons of Smallville, seasons of Supernatural, seasons of Buffy, the second season of Joey, the spinoff from Friends. And I brought it to them and they gave me approximately $12 in cash. But I spent some of my $12 on this because I saw this and I thought the cover was so cute. Look at this little thing. And it says Halloween night and there's a little cat. Up next we have Lore of Olympus. This is a graphic novel series that I think was originally a webtoon. I don't really know a ton about this beyond that the art style is like very nice and very colorful. So I want to try this. There is a chance that I won't enjoy this. I've heard mixed things on it. Okay, After the Forest by Kel Woods is another book that I bought for a video I was going to do for that like reading really beautiful books. I got the Something books. I love the cover. It's a special edition and it's so cute. I don't know a ton about this and I don't really want to know. I think it's like a Hansel and Gretel retelling, but this is a really beautiful edition. I love bows. I love little girly bows, and there's little like cherries and like fruit on it, and there's a fox. It's just so cute. I actually got this recently. This arc is one of my prized possessions. I reached out to the publisher and I asked for Abby Jimenez's book early. I'm actually going to keep this out of my packing because I'm going to try to read this soon. But this is Abby Jimenez's newest book that comes out April 1st. This is about these two people who go on a like beautiful date. A bunch of life stuff happens and they can't keep seeing each other, and so like years go by but they're always like thinking about each other as like the one that got away. So I think it might be like a second chance romance, and I do think one of them has a parent that has dementia, so there is a good chance that this is going to make me boohoo sob. Do I ever take half price book stickers out? No, the answer is no. And this is the Veronica Mars like novel that Rob Thomas wrote. I think it was after the show, but before or after the movie. I don't remember exactly when in the timeline it is, but I know there's a couple of the books and I just think it'd be fun to read this. I do want to listen to it on audio because I think Kristen Bell actually voices it, and Veronica Mars is like one of my all-time favorite TV shows. If you've never seen it, you absolutely should watch it. It's about a girl in high school who's like a teenage sleuth and giving very much like Nancy Drew vibes, and there's a really good romance in it, like Logan and Veronica. Ugh, love them, ship them forever. Although I will say I did rewatch the show recently as an adult, and Logan is a little more toxic than I remember, but I still stand by it. This is Chloe Gong's like first adult book that I think is like sci-fi fantasy mix. I do like kind of the vibe, and it doesn't seem like too long, so I will try it. I will see. I've been always wary of Chloe Gong just because like her books didn't really seem like something I'd be into. This is Shanghai Immortal by A.Y. Chow. I know this one has to do with a vampire who's like an agent of hell or something, and she has to like go steal a soul to be able to get out of hell, but it has very beautiful art in it. So I think I need to find out who these couples are and get into it. This next book has a very cursed cover. I got this in Scotland. I saw it at a used bookshop and I was like, I have never seen such a horrible cover for Howl's Moving Castle. I have to have it. Alice in Wonderland is one of those classics that I've always kind of wanted to get to, especially after I read like Anne of Green Gables and all the Jane Austen books. I feel like I've been in like more of a classics era. I guess I haven't read any in a while, but in general, I do like classics more than I thought I would. The Blueprint by Ray Gianna Rashad. This is another book that I bought for that video where I wanted to read books just based off their covers. I don't super know what this one is about. I do know that it's about a woman who's living in like a dystopian sci-fi society. Don't really want to know more in case I do, again, use it for that video concept. So I'm just gonna put that aside. You know, I have a funny story about this copy of Pumpkinheads. I actually stole it from an Airbnb probably like 3 years ago because I was reading it at the beach, which is kind of a weird book to read at the beach, but I don't know why it was in a beach Airbnb. I think someone left it there, so I took it. But I actually had read quite a bit of it. I have like it kind of bookmarked here that I'd read that much. So I probably will start back at the beginning and start over. But this is a really cute graphic novel about these two people who work at I think they work at like a pumpkin patch, like fair, like fall festival sort of thing. The Lies I Tell by Julie Clark is a book of the month book that I got a while ago. And I'm assuming a lot of lies are being told. All right, we are in the home stretch. I think we have like 6 more books. So we have another fairy loot. This is The Foxglove King by Hannah Whitten. I just know that some people have hated it, some people have loved it. I love the sprayed edges. Even if I read this and I don't end up liking it, I will be keeping this on my shelf because this is stunning. Absolutely stunning. And at this point in the video, I'm not interested in necessarily finding out the plot of books that I don't quite know about. The Unmaking of June Farrow by Adrienne Young. I have heard both wonderful and very middling things about this. I think that Adrienne Young kind of elicits that response from a lot of people. I did enjoy Spells for Forgetting, but I did unfortunately find it forgetful. So I'd love to give her another chance with like another book because I think some people liked this more. Okay, my camera's about to die, so I'm really gonna try to rapid fire finish this video before it dies. But we have Theodora and the Serpents of Chaos, which apparently is now a show on HBO Max. But I think this is a middle grade series that only has 4 books in the series. I actually looked at this on Goodreads the other day because I was like tracking all the series that I want to read. I bought this a long time ago because this is a middle grade that was recommended to me when I asked for recommendations that were like similar to like Nevermore. The Nightmare Brigade is another graphic novel that I actually got sent by the author. I don't often agree to authors sending me things, but I remember getting the description of this and liking it and liking the art style, and I kind of want to read more graphic novels. So that's why I accepted it. I think it's about teenagers who can like go into each other's dreams or something. The Curse of Saints by Kate Dramas is, you guessed it, another fairy loot book. I'm gonna be upfront. The sprayed edges on this are not as good as the other ones. So if I don't end up liking this, I might unhaul this one. But this one does have very beautiful art in it. Very, very beautiful. I need to know who these couples are, seriously. Oh my god, we have our last book, and that is Stone Maidens by Lloyd Devereaux Richards. I bought this because a girl on TikTok was like, hey, my dad spent 10 years writing this thriller novel, will you all buy it? And he was like a really adorable old man. So I purchased a copy of it to support him. And I know that this is a serial killer thriller, and I think the person who's like solving it is like an anthropologist who like studies bones. So it's kind of like the television show Bones. I don't know if the old man wrote a good book. I just wanted to support him because his daughter made a really beautiful video about him. But anyway, that brings me to the end of my physical TBR. So be on the lookout on my channel for a vlog series where I read my TBR. In the meantime, you should head on over to Riley Marie's channel because she has the TBR Tackle series. She has over 200 books on her TBR, and I think she's already read like 80 of them. And then also Gavin has a series called Emboss or Toss, which is really fun because he actually will like emboss it with like his little library stamp if he decides to keep the book. So that one's really fun. I think he might have 1,000 unread books on his. So we're all at varying levels of TBRs here. I've got 50 books, Riley's got over 200, Gavin's got over 1,000. You know, we're all the same, it's fine. But anyway, if you've made it to the end of the video, feel free to use a heart emoji because of my little cute heart sweater and my little heart earrings. We just love hearts, any heart that you want. And I thank you all so much for watching. You're all beautiful. Have a nice day.